Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of the Chosen One Star Wars podcast here on Game Domain. As always, I'm your host, Jason, joined by my co host, Captain,
What up?
and Leah.
What's going on?
All right, so we have some pretty big news in the Star Wars
I'm
world for this
pregnant.
week. There's there's
Donate to his
two
Patreon. Come on now.
there's two specific bigger news bits that we want to cover here in this episode. So we're just gonna get right into it here. The first one is about Lucasfilm just announced that we are going to be getting an all new animated series, like animated like the Clone Wars or like Rebels, but probably with the Clone Wars animation style, judging by what the topic of the series is, called The Bad Batch, which is set to release on Disney Plus in 2021. And then also we got it's not officially confirmed by Lucasfilm, but very credible, not really leaks, but very credible rumors coming from credible sources who have been, very accurate in the past. That Hayden Christensen has rumored to be cast as a major role in the upcoming Kenobi series, obviously as Anakin Skywalker. We have no idea what this major role might be, but we'll get into that when we start talking about that in a little bit here after we discuss the Bad Batch. But and then we also got confirmation that the Kenobi series is going through script rewrites right now, and it is set to be set to be 6 1-hour long episodes, so roughly like the size of kind of a trilogy, I guess. It would be like 3 2-hour movies. And so we're getting that in the form of the 6 1-hour long episodes that is going to be coming out in 2022. So we'll have to wait a little bit for that series, which everybody's really anticipating. But time, the more time will be better if that means that the script's going to be better, and that Hayden Christensen is going to have a major role as Anakin through flashbacks or what have you, which we'll get into in a little bit. But so first, why don't we just start off with the announcement of the new animated series called The Bad Batch. Obviously, we got The Bad Batch in the first arc of season 7 of the Clone Wars, this final season that was just released on Disney Plus starting back in February. And so the Bad Batch arc basically revolved around this group of 4, now 5 with Echo. 5 kind of deformed, genetically deformed, genetically modified, what have you, clones that aren't really like everybody else, but they all have kind of their unique own little enhancements to them, I guess, if you will. There's that idea that if somebody's blind or somebody can't or somebody can't hear, their other senses are much better than a normal person. So that's kind of like what this Bad Batch is, but in the sense of the clones and their programming, and that they're cloning, being cloned after Jango Fett. So these 4 clones, and Echo's now a part of them, being due to his current deformities, after being with the separatists, captured with them for a few years, during the war. And so, these 4 clones and now Echo, there's very interesting dynamic between them, very interesting camaraderie. And then they kind of went away after that first arc, and we have no idea what happened to them in Order 66. We have no idea what happened to them, onward, if they ended up going into the being a part of the Empire, or if maybe their Order 66 chips malfunction, just like some of the rest of their bodies, and their battle style and whatnot. So I mean, I think it's going to be pretty interesting and pretty fun. Obviously, we just know that it's happening. We know absolutely nothing about it. Obviously, D. Bradley Baker has been cast in all 5 major roles as the 5 members of the Bad Batch. We don't really know when this series is going to start or take place. It could take place after they get Echo or before Echo. We don't really know. I'd like to see it take place after Echo joins them, because that means that we'll see the lead up and what happens to them in Order 66 and beyond. But that's just my personal take on it. But why don't Leo and Captain, why don't you guys give some of your thoughts? Why don't we start on Captain?
I think we should start with Leo because Leo hasn't been here for a while, and
Okay.
we should get everybody back into hearing Leo's voice before he
Okay.
disappears off again for like 7 bajillion years.
All right. What's up, guys? It's me again. Let me put my food aside real quick. Yeah. So behind the scenes of the podcast, now you know what goes on.
Yeah, I'm drinking, so.
So actually, Jason, I'm reading an article here, and I have some info you might be interested in. The story will be set during the immediate aftermath of the Clone War, with members of the group using their unique skills as mercenaries. So this is probably going to be taking place like after the whole series, right? After the Clone Wars series, and it's going to be, during the era of when the Empire is beginning to, flex on everybody in the galaxy and stuff of that sort. I really liked the Rambo clone, as I so affectionately call him. I think you guys remember when we were talking about that when they first debuted on the Clone Wars episode, right? And to me, like, seeing them get their own spin-off series, I really didn't think it would happen, to be frank with you, because, you know, to me personally, the people who run Disney and who run Star Wars have their priorities all wrong when it comes to series and stuff like that. I thought they would, like, prioritize the High Republic out of everything, you know, that stuff. I never thought we would get these dudes have their own series, which I think is phenomenal, pretty awesome. And also, really quick though, there was a real life Rambo happening in Germany. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look that up. A real guy went total Rambo on the police force in Germany, heading in the forest. This was like last week. Go look that up.
Which Rambo? Rambo 1? Rambo 2?
Rambo 1. Rambo 1.
Oh, right. So Rambo where he's not trying to actually hurt anybody.
Yeah. So, guys, go look that up. Very interesting. And I brought it up because, well, we have the Rambo clone in here, so might as well. But, yeah, overall, I liked seeing those dudes in the Clone Wars episode. Favorite one is the Rambo clone, and what I would like to see them do, maybe since, you know, we see them in the article say the members are going to be using their unique skills as mercenaries. Maybe, you know, we see some interaction with the bounty hunters, you know, like Boba Fett, people of that sort, the Bosk. Maybe we see them, you know, get into some entanglements with the Hutt cartel, stuff of that sort. But I don't know. I'm not a writer for them. But that's my take on that. Beer, do you want to say anything about that?
Let me think. I'm trying to think how it would possibly work out. Because it's obviously going to be set during that we know nothing period of like 30 odd years, 20 odd years.
Around there.
I really don't know what they'd come up against. I mean, maybe they'd be hired by both sides, by the Empire and the new formed rebellion, which would be pretty interesting because you don't often see in anything, that being books, movies, TV shows, the middle people, the people who do both, you know, they work on both sides and are in that gray area. You never see anything like that. I think the only thing we got close to it in Star Wars was when the escape from that casino planet, and they're like, let's check out what this guy's ship, and he sells to both sides. That's like the closest we've got in Star Wars. So it would be nice to see him play both sides. And then obviously because they were clones, but they weren't clones that were programmed properly to like be for the Republic. They were just kind of like, they loved blowing stuff up and all that kind of fighting. So it'd be interesting to see if they eventually choose a side, or if they die in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, that I think that would be, obviously we don't know unless they ever make a Rebels sequel series eventually down the line, and we get a presence of them in something like that. But I think they'll probably have to give them more of an arc and then kind of just wrap up their storyline kind of within this series. So I think that is pretty plausible what you just said, Captain, about them kind of they could end up dying in some heroic way. Maybe they're some part of the rebellion or something, who knows, maybe they help spark that and whatnot.
What I don't want to see is like one die and then a few episodes later another die and then if
all go out at the same time.
If it's going to go down to anything, I want like two or three of them to die at once, and then the last two try their best to hold out, and then like the one more dies and then one gets away. And I can't remember the clone that it was Fives that they rescued, wasn't it? Who was plugged in the Clone Wars recently. He was plugged into the
in season 7.
Yeah.
No, that was Echo. That was Echo.
It was Echo. I would like if all of them are going to die. The one I don't want to die is Echo. I'd like to see Echo live on.
I think well, I mean, I want to give some of my thoughts and my hopes, but are you two done with your thoughts?
Oh, I'm done.
Wait, quickly. Okay. I just want to say one thing I don't want to see in the new series with the Bad Batch is the greatest pilot in the galaxy making a cameo.
I saw a meme on Instagram that said Lucasfilm announces Star Wars: The Martez Sisters animated series on Disney Plus.
You just see them like getting like completely destroyed. They're like, "Whoa, where's our evac?"
You just see the Starlight Angel just get whatever the heck it's
a 5-minute video of like they're flying around, and then they jump into hyperspace, but because none of them knows how to fly, they just immediately get vaporized.
It turns out they're force sensitive at the very last moment.
Maybe Lucasfilm could like throw in like some little canon tidbit. You know how at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, when Lando brings in those like thousands and thousands of ships from all over the galaxy.
Yeah, this time instead of them bringing in thousands and thousands of ships, they blow up into thousands.
Well, no.
Of
But
people.
so at that movie, at the end of the movie, there's a bunch of ships that just start falling out of the ground and falling out of the sky and exploding and whatnot. And they say that like I don't think we ever saw it on screen, but like Lucasfilm said, Nia Nub like died in that battle. So I mean,
yeah, I remember hearing that.
They said he did. If they killed Nia Nub, then they have let's just hope that the Martez sisters and the Starlight, whatever the hell, were in there, and the ship just fell out of the sky, the Starlight, whatever, and blew up, and we'll never be seeing them again. But so some of the hopes that I have for this Bad Batch arc is just something that I think will be kind of cool. Is I don't necessarily want to see the Bad Batch kind of become part of the Empire, but I also don't necessarily want to see them be part of the rebellion. I feel like they could kind of almost be kind of like how like in the Mandalorian, what I think was like something that was so good is that like obviously the Mandalorian Din Djarin didn't really have any, he didn't have any side that he was on and whatnot. Obviously, he was just a ruthless bounty hunter who would kill an Imperial or kill a member of the New Republic. He didn't really, he didn't have a side. He didn't have an alliance. He didn't have an allegiance, or he was only loyal and obedient, to the Mandalorian race and to his fighters and to his bounty hunter craft. So I think maybe we could see something like that with the Bad Batch, that kind of they're really their own standalone group. Maybe they could get into some shady bounty hunter stuff, and Leo, like you said before, maybe they could encounter some of the bounty hunters that that we know and love. Like maybe they could encounter a younger Boba Fett and whatnot, or they could maybe Dengar or Bosk or whoever. So, I mean, I think that would be a cool route of an aspect to go. I don't necessarily want to see them be part of the rebellion. I mean, I don't know if I think if they went down that route, I think maybe there's a chance we could somehow see Ahsoka and Rex. I mean, I know they split apart. Maybe somehow the Bad Batch encounters one of the two of them or whatever. I think it'd probably be more fitting if the Bad Batch encounters if somehow they make their way to that planet or whatever, that Rex and Gregor and
I think that's a valid possibility.
Is it Fox or whatever? Who's on that? Wolf, who's on that ship, or who's like who lives on that little, who lives on that little lamb walker or whatever, wherever that planet is. I think that would be kind of cool if somehow maybe they were to cross paths with them, and then they kind of realized that, oh wow, there were other clones who survived the war and who didn't kind of go straight into the Empire and whatnot, and didn't really carry out Order 66. I mean, Leo, if what you said is true, that what you saw in that article, that it takes place after Order 66, I kind of would have liked to see Order 66 again and just kind of see exactly what they do. But I guess we could just get some exposition and some backstory as to, kind of how they went about Order 66 and, what really happened to them there.
I think there's two ways to do that. Like, you either start the series off during Order 66, like the very freaking beginning, or you start it off like a year later and like you get flashbacks to what happened during the big purge. I think that's two ways you can do it. I think they should start at the very beginning when it's going down, but that's my personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I still like. I think if I could choose, I would like to kind of see right before Order 66 and then the events of Order 66 and then after. I'm still fine with the majority of the show taking place after Order 66. Like if Order 66 was like the very first arc of the show, let's say it's a 16 episode show. And the first 4 episodes were leading up to Order 66 and beyond. I mean, I don't think they necessarily had some like a deep role in Order 66. I mean, they were, their own kind of class of trooper. They kind of did things on their own way. They weren't really interactive with the Jedi and other clone legions.
It's funny
and we
that
saw
you
that
bring that
when we
up,
did
Jason,
get that.
because I'm wondering here, since they're so separate from the regular forces, right? Since they're so on the fringe of the
they could have no idea. They could have no idea what
happened.
happened.
They might not even have the chip in their head for all we know.
Yeah, they know. Well, or it could be completely defunct or malfunctioned or whatever because of those alterations.
I think the Bad Batch are actually classed as, and I can't remember what the equivalent in my country's army or your country's army is, but they are a special attachment unit which will be attached to anything that they are required by, which is why they say that, you know, Cody's always asking for him.
Yeah.
So they're a they're like a Black Ops special
Yeah.
operations
I
unit,
mean,
which is only attached onto a
yeah.
group when they're needed. And apart from that, I guess they just kind of blow
Yeah.
stuff up.
I mean, my take on that, on something like that, is that I would kind of relate them in the U.S. military, I guess, to something of like a Green Beret type, where, you know, like the Green
Yeah,
Beret, like
maybe.
Rambo is a Green Beret.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I would like
Well,
view them as being kind of those secluded single hand warriors who are
I
kind of
was
just
thinking they'd be more like
batshit
SEALs, wouldn't
crazy,
they?
who just do whatever, you know, batshit crazy, who can just do whatever, and you know, are very skilled tactical warriors. That's how I kind of look at them as. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I just
yeah,
sort of thought they might be actually more like Navy SEALs, because Navy SEAls are, though they are amphibious warriors, they are actually land based. They are the only people in the Navy, I think, that don't do naval warfare apart from
Mhm.
like ship to ship kind of. I know the Navy SEAls were involved in
yeah,
that Captain Phillips movie, you know, where
yeah.
they paint. But I
Oh yeah,
think
where they
Navy
rescue
SEAls
him.
are pretty much just like
Yeah, they're
putting
just
an
very
army
specialized.
unit on a
Yeah,
navy.
they're not really they're not really like, you know, they don't go around on the boats and really
Yeah, they're
fly
not
the boats.
seamen. They're like
Yeah,
just
that's not really
corpsmen.
what they are.
Seaman.
But I mean, yeah. So that those are really my hopes with the Bad Batch show. I mean, I'm sure we'll be discussing it a lot more on future episodes of this podcast as we get more information. So I mean, you know, before we move on to in my opinion, I guess I would say the bigger news that we're going to cover this show. Do you guys have anything else to touch on about the Bad Batch, or no?
No, I'm good.
Just that I really, 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 really hope that if they are going to show any of that purge stuff, we don't see the Bad Batch taking sides. Like maybe
Yeah,
they see a
yeah,
Jedi in need, and they're like, "Right, we'll help you out, but if the
yeah,
clones start shooting at us, we're not going to shoot the clones because they're our brothers and stuff." That'd be
yeah,
cool. But
Yeah.
if they show purge stuff, I really hope that they pull from the comics, because the comics covered the purge quite nice. So that's all I'm going to say.
yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into the latter half of the episode. You know, the other thing that we want to cover here today. And so this is in my opinion, this makes me really, really happy. I'm really I'm all for this news. I'm a big fan of the idea of the Kenobi series getting Ewan McGregor back. And, you know, it's been rumored for a while, and now apparently it's being, you know, it's being credibly rumored by you know, people like makingstarwars.net, who have, you know, have good sources in Lucasfilm and in Disney, who you know, feed them real information, and among other very credible sources as well, that Hayden Christensen apparently has just recently officially signed the contract to you know, play a major role and a major part in the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series that we are, you know, that was already confirmed with Ewan McGregor. And obviously Hayden will be reprising his role as Anakin Skywalker, as he played in episodes 2 and 3. Now the Kenobi series also is confirmed to be going through script rewrites. I believe they have a new writer. I mean, you know, we were told at you know, Ewan McGregor, when he was finally able to let out the information after it was revealed at, I think that was D23 or Star Wars Celebration. I'm not really sure. I think it was Star Wars Celebration last year in 2019, that, you know, the Kenobi series was official, and it was officially, you know, going to happen, much to the delight of not even just prequel fans, but really, you know, all Star Wars fans, because obviously Ewan McGregor is, you know, such a big highlight and such a big intricate part of the prequel trilogy, and one of the reasons why so many people love that trilogy. And so that was very, very big news. And then, you know, many people question, are we going to see Liam Neeson come back as Qui-Gon in some form, you know, as a Force ghost or flashbacks or whatnot? And then, you know, it obviously went to Hayden Christensen as well, as to if we could see in flashbacks or kind of memory visions or whatnot. And so now it looks like that this is all but official at this point. There was a lot of speculation, you know, since the series was first announced, that it's happening. I mean, I personally don't see why not to have him in there, even if it's for a couple flashback scenes. I have my own personal way that I'd like them to weave Anakin into this series, but I won't. Yeah, I'll wait till after you guys discuss your thoughts, and then you know, when I give my thoughts later, I'll talk about that. I don't want to spoil anything now. But I mean, yeah, so that's just, that's really the on the top stuff that we have to tell you. So now we're just going to get into, each of our thoughts on this news and what we think that Hayden Christensen's role as Anakin Skywalker could be in the Kenobi series, especially because it's now being detailed as a major role. Apparently in the initial script that the initial script was for a movie, and then they were apparently easily able to split it up into about 6 1-hour long episodes to be released on Disney Plus, and they were able obviously to adjust the script and to expand on it in order to turn it into 6 1-hour long episodes and get everything that they wanted to get done in the movie all done in 6 episodes. Then apparently the script wasn't exactly what everybody at Lucasfilm was looking for. And so they kind of scrapped that script and they're rewriting a whole new script. Deborah Chow is going to be the director for all 6 episodes. That was already confirmed almost a year back. And she directed some of the best episodes on The Mandalorian. I know for a fact she directed episode 3, which was, in my opinion, the second best episode in all of season 1 of The Mandalorian. So she's definitely a good bright spot for directing live action Disney Plus series for Star Wars moving ahead towards the future. And I'm really excited about that choice as the director. She's a very good actor. She's a very good action director. And so, hopefully we'll be seeing some of that action in the Kenobi series. But so apparently in that original script, Hayden Christensen had a very minor role, and now they're kind of weaving him more into the script through this, this script rewrite to give him sort of a major role. And I mean, they're describing it as a major role, which makes it seem like he's probably going to be in a couple episodes of this. Obviously, in what capacity, we don't know. I don't think they ever actually confirmed that this series would be taking place in between episodes 3 and 4. Obviously, I think it will. I have heard speculation that maybe it could be taking place between 2 and 3, or some of it could be during 2 and 3, some of it could be during 3 and 4. I mean, that's an idea that I'd be open to. The prospect of that, of kind of splitting the series in half. But I think that they will go down more of a route of kind of flashback scenes or memories or visions that Obi-Wan is seeing. And yeah, so I mean that's really all I have to say off the top before I'll get into the details of what I'm hoping for with Hayden Christensen's role in a little bit here after you guys talk about it. But since we started with Leo last time, why don't we start with Captain? So Captain, what are some of your thoughts on this rumor, and what do you think that Hayden Christensen's role as Anakin Skywalker can play in this Kenobi series?
Well, off the bat, my immediate thought when it was like 2022, I was like, why?
Yeah,
I'm kind of confused.
I
Why?
think the script is probably not even half done at this point or something. They were originally supposed to start filming this year and it was supposed to come out in 2021. But then when they scrapped the script and are rewriting it, I'm assuming that the script will probably be done sometime this year, and then they'll record it next year. And who knows, maybe it'll come out early in 2022. We don't know also what capacity of continuing series of The Mandalorian we're going to get. So like this year, we're going to get season 2. Who knows, in 2021 they could be a season 3, and by they could be a season 3. So then that's why maybe they're releasing this in the spring of 2022 after season 3 of The Mandalorian finishes. We really don't have any idea about that. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Captain, but
no, it's fine, because you mentioned The Mandalorian, and there might be a no, there can't be a tie-in. I was thinking there could possibly be a tie-in, but no, there can't be a tie-in because they're two different separate entities in the timeline. But no, like I'm happy that we're finally getting Ewan McGregor back on the screen. I like Ewan McGregor; he's great. If I could pull it off, I would have the episode 3 haircut with the beard.
Yes,
Absolutely
that's
beautiful.
what I would too.
And as for a TV show, it will be quite interesting because I'm pretty sure it's going to be based on, and I think it was either a comic or a book where he fights cartels, he defends an area of Tatooine. That'd be pretty cool to see. As for Hayden Christensen, no, he's not really. He's more of a vigilante.
Yeah,
because a policeman, is everybody knows who a policeman is.
Yeah, that is true.
And all that kind of stuff.
He's got to fly under the radar, even though he only changed his name to Ben Kenobi instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi. If he wanted to, wanted to go uncover, he could have changed it a little bit more. But we get it.
Well, I just find it funny that his name, like Luke calls him Old Ben, and if you say it fast enough, you can get really close to Obi-Wan. Yeah. Well, not Obi-Wan, but Obi. So as for Hayden Christensen, I'm never a fan of flashbacks. Flashbacks is a played out cliche that I no longer like in.
I'm not really a fan of them either, which is I'll talk about what I want them to do in a little bit. But I'm just wondering if you're going to go there before I get to it.
Well, it's like I'm sick and tired of cliches. I do use a few cliches in my life because they are quite fun. And you can blame Stargate for that because Jack O'Neill uses them all the time in that. But I don't want to see, something's just happened. Like Obi-Wan has just watched something happen or has just been a part of something. And then he sits on a rock and gazes out over the setting two suns and has a flashback of a similar thing that happened with him and Anakin. I'm like, right, why? I don't want that. I want episodes like set where we get a new story, a little bit of the development between the father and son dynamic that then became a brother dynamic, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
That I can deal with that as a flashback. Okay, I can deal where maybe for the first two episodes he's a drunk old man like doing shots and telling stories about his best mate that sadly died, and then we flash back to like some little like a 10-minute flashback at the max where he tells a little, he's telling the story and then it flashes back and it's like, oh, remember when we fell into that nest of Gundarks and then we finally get to see it? Something like that. That I can accept as a flashback, not Obi-Wan gazing out over his setting sun and thinking about his friend. No, that's soppy, that's played out, and that's cliche.
Yeah.
But I'm perfectly fine with Hayden Christensen coming back because I don't mind him. He was supposed to play a really annoying, angsty teenage character in the movies. And he pulled it off really well. And Hayden Christensen, outside of that, is a really good actor.
As much as people criticize him, but that's kind of how the character was written.
What he was going for, and how people didn't get that. I was a kid when 1, 2, and 3 came out. I was older, but by the time 3 came out, I was still in my teens. So I was like, oh, I really get Anakin Skywalker because I'm an angsty teenager as well. But it's like I knew he was pretending to be an angsty teenager, so. Maybe he won't come back as that. It would be nice to see more of him with the rat's tail. Episode 2, kind of Hayden Christensen, where like set around that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people are going to shit on it anyway. When Hayden Christensen come back, people are just going to go, "Oh, his performance is terrible. He's not changed. His acting prowess is still," and people are just going to. So, as long as they don't play out like TV show cliches. And to be honest, I would rather prefer they release them as 3 2-hour-long mini movies. I'd rather them do that, or an hour and a half mini movies, something like that. That'd be better. Mm-hmm. Like because the Mandalorian's an hour each episode, isn't it? Yeah. So
no. The Mandalorian. I don't think any episode was an hour.
I'm sure minutes or less. Oh, well, on TV with adverts they're an hour long. So yeah, they're about 40 minutes. Yeah. So I mean we get a lot of stuff in a Mandalorian episode that is a really good story. So if it was an hour and a half of Obi-Wan and then instead of just having them like all 6 episodes coming out once, you could stagger them by a month or a month or 2.
I think I would kind of like the idea of the 6 1-hour-long episodes and maybe having to wait like 2 weeks in between or whatnot. You could release them one on a Friday and then 2 weeks later.
Yeah, because the reason we have episodes every week is because they're only 30 minutes long.
Yeah, but if being an hour, you might as well spread it out a little bit more.
But I think if they don't overplay Hayden Christensen, if they keep it to a minimum of storytelling, but a maximum of like storytelling with emotional hits on Obi-Wan as he tries to deal with what's happening in the galaxy, that'd be like the perfect thing. If they go above that and like Hayden Christensen pops up as a freaking like force projection ghost or something, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not dealing with any of that. But that's my take on Hayden Christensen coming back.
I think Leo actually had to run here, so I'm just gonna go straight into.
I'm still here.
Oh, you are still here? Right, I wasn't sure. All right, so Leo, you want to give your thoughts on Hayden Christensen being cast and what you think his role could be as Anakin here in the Kenobi series?
Yeah, sure. So him being cast, I think it's a great thing, a great addition to have, seeing him back in the role. I think we all want to see that, but like Captain brought up earlier, people are going to shit on him for his acting, so it's only a matter of time before he gets the hate. But, I think he's gotten off a lot better considering what happened to the guy who played Anakin in episode 1, right? You guys remember that guy?
Yeah, Jake.
Oh, God, yeah.
He got really, really bullied by the fan base. There's no easier way to say it. And Hayden has had a little bit, or I'd have to say a lot more luck than that the other guy had. But Yeah, as for possible roles and how long he's going to be in this, there's two ways you can do this. Obviously, flashbacks. That's the easiest way to do it. Or you can do something else like rewriting the entire freaking canon. It might,
Let's not.
yeah, like they might do some like I'm not saying they will. It's a possibility, slight, but maybe like Anakin comes to Tatooine. He's like, "Hey, Obi-Wan, we got some unfinished business." They fight, and then like Obi-Wan like does some force amnesia trick on Anakin, so he forgets that he was ever there. So that's like the in-canon explanation to why Darth Vader doesn't know where he was. He has amnesia, and then he sends him away in his TIE fighter, and then he's like, "Oh my gosh, Anakin, I miss you so much, brother." Some dumb BS like that. But more than likely, yeah, I think it's gonna be flashbacks or like some like apparition that that haunts Obi-Wan. Where he's like, "Oh, I screwed up so bad. I almost killed my best friend. What have I done?" But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I'm glad he's in it,
God,
but
I just thought of like emo, emo Obi-Wan, and
emo
that just
Obi-Wan.
popped into my head.
But yeah, that's all I
um,
got to say.
yeah. So how I kind of have an interesting take on how I think Hayden Christensen could play a major role kind of in the series as Anakin. I guess this is also kind of how I would want it to be done. I really like what they did with that little Han Solo memory in episode 9. With when Ben, eventually does turn back to the light, where it kind of reenacts that scene where he killed his father, but he makes the right choice this time and throws the lightsaber away, and then his father's not there when he turns around. I think that I still thought from the second I saw that scene that it was a missed opportunity, even though he never knew Anakin, to have Anakin there as, just a Force ghost and kind of talk him out of it and, say, like, don't go, you went down the path that I went down. There's still time, there's still good in you. He's like, my son was right about me. Um, Ray is right about you or whatnot, or some sort of little parallel to kind of talk him out of it. I like that they ended up doing Han, but then that kind of creates um a new dynamic with the Force, that being that Han is presented kind of as a memory. We don't necessarily know if that's through just Ben's, head and his imagination, and or if it's through some sort of inner workings from the Force, by Luke or Leia, because obviously we know Leia passed away right before that, and they obviously both went on to be incarnations of the Force in form of Force ghosts. So I think maybe that they kind of had the ability to present Han to him at that point. But I also think that so I think that memory kind of opened the door to the idea that I want to see them go with for how they can weave Hayden Christensen into this. I think it would be cool to have Obi-Wan, doing whatever he's doing out on Tatooine, and Anakin kind of appearing as a memory, obviously not as a Force ghost because he's still alive, but now Darth Vader. Well, from a certain point of view, he's still alive, but I think maybe as some sort of a memory, kind of like that, kind of like what we saw with Han. And this memory of Anakin doesn't really have any darkness in him. And Obi-Wan would kind of be freaked out at first, saying, what are you doing here? You're not real. You're just a memory or whatever. And this Anakin could kind of be clueless to the fact that he is now Darth Vader, having no idea. And it kind of shocks Obi-Wan and whatnot. I mean, that sounds a little convoluted. I mean, obviously, I'm not a writer for Lucasfilm. I'm not the one who gets paid to figure out how they could do that. But I just think that would be kind of a cool and unique dynamic, if they were to have Hayden do that and appear as Anakin as some sort of a memory to communicate with Obi-Wan. I wouldn't. I mean, if he has a major role, I don't really want to see just a bunch of flashbacks. I mean, I wouldn't be against the idea of like the first episode just taking place in between episodes 2 and 3, and them just being able to make Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor look really young. I mean, to be completely honest, they don't really look that much older than
No,
they
they
did.
don't.
I mean, Ewan McGregor looks virtually the same as he did when he filmed episode 3. They just, give him some long hair piece. He grows out the beard a little bit longer. I think that beard in that whole, half of that movie, because they did reshoots in episode 2, was CGI anyway. So they could, figure out whatever to do with that to make them look younger. And I mean, Hayden Christensen doesn't really look much older anyway. I think he's maybe probably in his early 30s, if anything. Um, So I mean, I think they could do that. I would kind of be open to that idea. I like that idea. Kind of having some of it take place in between 2 and 3, and that's kind of where Hayden's role comes in. And then, when it gets to, taking place in between 3 and 4, then there could be some flashback scenes or whatnot, or somehow Anakin could appear as a Force Ghost memory, what have you. So I mean, that's really what I just am glad that he's going to be in this and have a major role in whatever form that is. I think he deserves a second shot at acting as Anakin in, a better written role, a better scripted, movie, or in this case, a TV series. I just think that he deserves that opportunity, and I think that, with all the prequel love that's been going around, kind of these past 5 years, as all the people who grew up with the prequels as their childhood movies are kind of getting older and becoming a real voice, for the Star Wars fan base on the internet. I think that, obviously all the love for Ewan McGregor, sparked about. And I think there's a lot of love for Hayden Christensen as Anakin, as well. I mean, you look back even 10 years ago, back in 2010 or whatever, 5 years removed from the end of the prequel trilogy, people would be criticizing Hayden Christensen and saying, oh, it doesn't matter that the script was written horrible. He just did a horrible job acting. Now you have half the Star Wars fan base today, like Captain, like you were just talking about before, and I completely agree with you, and I think Leo completely agrees with you, that's how the character was written, and it wasn't Hayden Christensen's fault. Anakin was written to be this whiny, bratty, very angry, uptight kid, just kind of like how Luke was when we saw him in episode 4 throughout the whole movie. And that, he was very dejected and whatnot, and, always wanted to give up, and he didn't really want to try. And that's kind of like what Hayden Christensen acted like, like Anakin as, and that's how the character was written, to kind of mirror Luke and be like that, to show that similarity and parallelism between, father and son. And so I think it'll be good that he gets another opportunity as this. And I'm very, very excited for this Kenobi series. I'm a little sad we have to wait all the way to 2022, but I'm hoping that that'll just be in the spring of 22. That'll be like about a year and a half away from now, which sounds pretty far, but it's already been a year since when they announced this. So that if you think about it, that doesn't seem as far away as it really could be. We're only a few months shy of having season 2 of The Mandalorian, when it feels like just yesterday we all got introduced to Baby Yoda. So I was thinking about that the other day, that it's almost going to be October in a few months, and then we're going to be getting, I think it's supposed to start coming out in October, and we're going to be getting more Baby Yoda, which everybody could use more Baby Yoda, especially how 2020 is shaping out. Everybody could use some more Baby Yoda. But yes, I mean that's really all my thoughts there on Hayden Christensen being in the Kenobi series, and that's really all we have to talk about. But before we wrap up, Captain and Leo, is there anything else you guys want to touch on quick?
No, I think I've covered everything.
Good. All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for what will be episode 23 of the Chosen Ones of Star Wars podcast. So yeah, we'll see you around.
Toodles.
Farewell, everybody. Farewell.